Hello, good evening, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It is Monday night, which means that we are playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. This lovely book here, and we're having a lovely time doing so. So, promo stuff below the video. There are links to our Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, or YouTube if you're watching on Twitch. Our social media accounts, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat to us, and the other people who watch and are involved with the channel, and also our Patreon, where you can support us if you enjoy what we do here. Other things that happen on the channel: Wednesday night, Matt runs Simba Room, which is our longest running series on the channel, and one weekend day a month we have a different one-shot adventure run by different GMs, different systems, different players, and the next one is going to be Sam, who you will see on screen shortly, running us a Call of Cthulhu game on the 19th of February, which is a Sunday, I think, off the top of my head, and I'm playing in that, and I'm really looking forward to it. But for now, let's bring on Sam to do his recap for last week's session.
You'll see me on the screen right now.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
So the previous session had ended with your character, Hux, being introduced to Lucy Jenkins in the pub.
Indeed. Yeah, Lucy Jenkins immediately knew who I was, which is a little bit unsettling, but I tried not to let it show. Nodded to her. At least I knew her name, so, we were on equal footing on that. And then, basically I asked if she could help us out finding some things out. And she kind of suggested that she wanted me to pay her for it. Which Hux really wasn't willing to do. Like I didn't fancy that. So instead, I kind of hinted that I might be able to help her with information. And then she mentioned a medallion, which I totally bluffed, probably badly bluffed, but whatever, it worked. That I might know something about. And then, got her to offer up a bit of info about this mysterious lady we're following. And I don't have my character sheet up, so what was her name?
Gladys Pugh.
Why is they following? Trying to find out if she's even real or not. Because until that point, I think we didn't really know. Gladys Pugh's kind of maybe been following Lady. Oh my God,
Spence.
Thank you. All the names have gone today. Lady Spence around, and otherwise being kind of involved in some of these mystical things, perhaps. And so she kind of said that yes, she does know of this person. And she thinks we might be able to find her on the other end of town. Didn't really give any specific indication, but that's where she thought she might be staying or living or something like that. I don't really believe she told us much else about this mysterious lady. Is that right? I don't think we got anything else.
No, not much.
So I'm glad I didn't pay her, because that wasn't that much. I then half-heartedly kind of suggested that there was something in the well she might find, and she was like, the body, and I was like, oh, damn it. And then that was kind of it, really. I didn't really help her with the medallion, but I have told everyone else about the medallion in case it comes up. I will kind of vaguely mention it to her. I'm not going to go out of my way, but, it's something I could try and help with.
Yep. Cool. Let's bring on Justin, who plays Gail Mosling Forsmark. Hi,
hello.
Justin. So while that was going on, Gail was having a chat with Robert the barman.
Indeed, yeah. I wanted to check in and see if the barman could tell us a bit about the rumours we first heard about when we came to town, which included something about a big dog that either did or didn't cause things to happen that were bad or good. And although I'm certain that as a player, this dog will hopefully end up being part of the really rich tapestry of this story, Mosling is convinced that it is just a dog, and so found this story to be rather confirming of that. They also looked into whether or not anyone can turn up to this historical society that's happening tomorrow at the pub, or maybe today at the pub, which seems to be the epicenter of a number of swirling plot points. Anyway, that's where we're at.
And yes, it was confirmed that you could basically show up by Robert. Let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville. Hey, Steve. So you left the pub.
Yes. And I think we were on the way to check the other side of town, presumably to try and find out where. Oh no, we were going off to see. Was it Jane Penhaligon?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and on the way, a few of us noticed that there was a flicker of movement in one of the alleyways we were passing by, and three of us led chase. I think it was Hux, myself, and B. And we managed to corner this chap who initially was trying to pretend that no, he hadn't been following us at all, as a total misunderstanding. But fairly rapidly, it transpired that he was a journalist that had been following us because of some rumours he'd heard about something that happened further north. Murders, bodies, something like that. So we... yes, it wasn't a great meeting of minds, but Mosling was able to sort of either distract him or, cause some sort of settle things down a bit. And he ended up going away with the promise that after we'd finished here that we would speak to him. So that'll be interesting, I'm sure.
Something for another day. Let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance. Hello, Inga. So you then managed to get to the home of Jane Penhaligon and Dan, the man who is missing and is the reason that you are here, essentially. Sister Constance
we had
a chat.
We had a good chat. We had a good chat. She is easily the best NPC we've ever met. She's a good woman of faith, just very friendly and welcoming, gave us tea. She was just wonderful. Didn't really give us a whole lot of extra info about Dan and stuff, just kind of confirmed a lot of the things we already knew, like he should normally be coming home. She usually just goes to bed and lets the horse sort of walk him home. I guess we got confirmed that the horse is also definitely still missing. It hasn't kind of come back or anything. But she seemed like weirdly calm, I guess. Like, she was fairly like accepting of the fact that something bad maybe has happened, not totally without hope, but she seemed fairly okay as far as these things go, I suppose. So we had a bit of a chat, confirmed a few things. She disapproved of this Lucy Jenkins person that Huck spoke to earlier, and kind of confirmed again that she's someone who sort of takes advantage a bit of people like Dan, rather than kind of looking out for them like everyone else does in the community. But yeah, she seemed okay. Said we could come back and have another cup of tea, and we'd update her on the case and how things were progressing. But yeah, no real like major big new clues as a result, unfortunately.
And then sadly, John isn't available to play this evening, but B and Hux went off to the far end of town to keep an eye out for Gladys Pugh.
Wasn't it Constance and Hux?
Yeah. Oh, was it? Yes,
yeah,
sorry.
I think it was,
yeah. While Henry, B, and Gail went to collect Lady Spence with the working theory that if she was around, then Gladys Pugh may not be far behind. And then Hux went exploring a mill that was spotted behind the last row of houses, a disused mill. And at the very end of the session, went into the upstairs door of the mill and found it was basically completely empty apart from an area set up for sleeping in the middle of the room. And I can't remember which members of the party that were in the pub, but some saw like a flash of movement outside the window.
I think it was possibly B and Henry. But we didn't, it was just movement. It didn't trigger any feelings of dread or anything like that.
No, just out the corner of your eye. It's a window in a village town.
Things move past village town windows.
So Sam, Hux has discovered this area. Oh, and also it's worth noting out again that the door had been essentially made to look like it was still boarded shut. The nails had kind of been moved from the outside of the door to being in the door on the planks of wood, so that the door could just open because it wasn't attached to anything else at that point.
Yeah. It's worth saying as well that Hux is exhausted at the moment because of the chase after that damn reporter, which is one of the reasons Hux was so mad at the reporter. Anyway, I think I'll look around and have a kind of a quick glance inside this old abandoned mill and just see if it seems safe. There's no one like lurking in these shadowy corners, nothing else surprising. If I don't see anything immediately obviously going on or dangerous, I'll probably go back out and get Constance then before we have a detailed look.
Yeah, so it's dark-ish, but you don't see any movement or any sign of anybody like obviously being there.
Cool. Yeah, I'll go get Constance then, figuring she won't have a look too. I'll just kind of find you outside and go, I don't think there's anyone in, but it looks like someone's been sleeping here. Take a look.
Yeah. Presumably I haven't spotted any movement from the outside anywhere to indicate someone has got out or there's been anything funny.
No, nobody's come charging out or anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll head in as well then.
Okay. Are you going further in?
Yeah, I'm going to go have a look at the bed.
Okay. Can you make me vigilance rolls, please?
Both of us.
Yes, if you're both going in, yeah.
Nope, not that good at vigilance. Better than I am at learning.
No successes on 5 dice.
Maybe want to re-roll. I could choose to re-roll based on. I'm gonna take another condition. Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll. I want to re-roll.
Okay.
I'm going to tick angry because it'll make me pissed off. I don't find anything in here. That seems reasonable. It wasn't worth it.
Still none. Okay.
No, I'm angry.
Definitely angry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What are you doing?
Taking a closer look at that bed. I kicked the bed over in frustration.
Okay. Yeah, it's sort of like a low. It's like a pallet essentially, with some sheets and a thin pillow. Doesn't look particularly comfy, but it would at least be warmer than not having it.
I immediately regret kicking the bed over and pull it back over and try and make it look like I hadn't kicked it over.
The floor is you can see footprints sort of around it because it's dusty, the floor. But apart from the dust, the sort of palette and everything is reasonably clean. It's not sort of like somebody's living in complete squalor in here. It's dusty because it's an old mill that's not used, and it would be a lot of effort probably for them to clean the floor up without drawing any attention or having to buy a broom or something. But yeah, and then you can see that there are stairs going to downstairs as well. But in terms of the bed area, there's nothing apart from the bed setup essentially.
Okay. I look at Constance and just go, sorry, I was just hoping to find something more. Been a frustrating day.
I probably wouldn't be right by the bed anyway. I'm probably looking elsewhere, like looking for signs of like anything that might indicate like who this person is, or like any kind of like just like signs of like home, I guess. Like you just is there anything that's been like accumulated stuff that indicates how long that they've been here? Like have they brought a teacup? Like any of those like little like homely details or something that might indicate who this person could be or what their interest is. If they got scribbled notes about Lady Spence or yeah, does it look like someone's just rocked up here for a night and fucked off and kind of thing?
Okay. Are you staying on this floor?
No, I have a wonder about wherever if that's where if I'm not finding anything. Yeah, I'd wander throughout. If Huck said it was
Okay.
safe.
Yeah, if,
On I
if
go.
Constant goes downstairs, I'll follow her downstairs as well.
Okay.
Not in a rush, but
You head down the stairs, and there is a rack of dresses. There is an area that looks to have been set up as almost like a. So the floor upstairs is wooden. The floor down here is stone. And there's an area down here that looks to have been set up as sort of like a fire pit, potentially for cooking. So this is the area that is like essentially what you were sort of looking for, really. So yeah, had you heard the description of Gladys? I think you had. Hadn't you?
Yeah, I think Huck. Yeah, Hux had just kind of debriefed us all on what it was like younger. Yeah, because I had to like sort of youngish woman. I can't remember. Did she have red hair? But this is me misremembering now. Remember?
I don't remember offhand.
Or light brown hair.
I think.
I am.
I've noted down.
Yeah,
We
ready
have a
brown
description.
hair. Ready brown
Yeah.
hair.
Mhm.
And that she's normally in dresses, which she gets muddied, I think, with and if you look at these dresses, the bottoms of them often, they have sort of splashes of mud around the bottom of these dresses.
Just
So
one final thought. Sorry.
yes, go on, Sam.
I was going to say one final thought about the bed, kind of lingering before I head down to Constance. It is normal human-sized shape, the sort of thing a person would sleep in, right? It's not anything.
Yes.
different. Okay, got it. I'm heading downstairs.
So yeah, you could quite happily make the assumption that this is potentially where Gladys is staying. Yeah, there are all the things here for somebody to be able to stay here for an extended period, if not forever. So yeah, there are some books around, a couple of novels, and a couple of sort of fairy tale books. Again, relatively similar to what Lady Spence had, but in shorter supply.
If there's any that are like fairy tales, but like a particular kind of they're all about red caps or something, right? Like, or if it's just general like fairy tale, like it's a bit of a like an anthology company, like kind of collection of lots of stories. But yeah, if there's anything that like if it's a collection, that's fine. But if it's like on a particular topic more so, maybe make a note of that. No, just
no, they're
stuff,
they're vague general collections.
I was going to take a look at what sort of food remains there were around, if there's any like packages or jars or anything like that. Because if she must be getting food from somewhere. I was thinking I can find out where she's been getting food from, and that gives us a lead to find out more about her if we can ask them about her or something.
Yeah, there are some glass jars. There are some sort of uneaten bits of bread lying around, which you obviously would assume must have come from a bakery.
Okay.
There is only one bakery in town.
Yeah.
That you've seen at least. So that may be
somewhere to go.
Potential line of inquiry. There isn't anything that can confirm 100% who is here. There's no correspondence or like name tags in anything or that kind of thing. But putting the picture together, like I said, you could quite happily assume that it's that Gladys is staying here.
Hux is muttering under his breath still, just like, this is so unhelpful. Hoping to find something to talk to.
It all looks like just like normal people. That there's nothing that's like unusual, like like funny looking artifacts or books with funny symbols. Like there's none of that kind of like odd stuff. It's just normal person squatting in a
Wi-
mill.
with a mild interest in the unusual.
tales,
Yeah, but there's
yeah.
there's no like obvious magical items, or there's no chalk pentagram, or scrabbled into the
Yeah.
dust or anything.
There's that overwhelming sense of dread that suddenly just feels weird, or sudden drips of blood or something. Yeah.
No.
All right. Not that we noticed anyway. Okay, cool. That's fine. Yeah. Well, it seems like this Gladys person is here. I suppose your friend Hux, they did have something to say. It's still very unusual that very few people seem to know her, but it looks like she's been here a while.
Seems like she's trying to lay low. Bit weird to be wearing dresses like that, though. They're not exactly lying low sort of clothes, are they? As far as I'd see. I mean, am I right in that, Johnny? That the fact she's always wearing dresses seemed a bit funny for someone who was trying to not be noticed, or?
Yeah, I mean they're not hugely flashy for
Okay,
for the time, but they're also not noticeable for somebody wandering around.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So I stand
Yeah.
by what I said then. But I'll just kind of say, but nothing else to say about it, really. I was kind of hoping to find something, a letter or something personal. I don't know, identify anything. She could have just left and we'd never know anything about her, to be honest, at this point.
It is strange, yes. I always wonder whether we ought to leave a note or something, but perhaps we better just come back and see if we can catch her at some other point. Maybe with Lady Spence. She has an interest in Lady Spence.
I definitely think she's the sort that doesn't want to be caught. I'm not sure a letter will help. Might be worth a try, I suppose. Either way, she'll know we've been here, won't she?
You did kick that.
Yeah, I
quite
know.
aggressively.
You do you have anything to write on you?
Well, only my Bible. I'm not tearing a page out of that. We can always leave a note another time. Come back. We're not far from town.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have a pen in any case. No, we'll have to come back.
I think Hux imagines that everyone who can write just always has things that they're prepared to write with on them because it's such like a thing that they can do, prepared to write at a moment's notice. Yeah, I'll nod, just go, yeah, let's go.
I think that's probably because most of the things that Hux can do are things that he may need to do at a moment's notice.
Exactly.
So therefore, any skill that anyone has is probably something they might need to do at a moment's notice.
Carry a
right?
crowbar, carry a revolver, carry a drink of alcohol, everything you need to do on a moment's notice.
As we just leave, I'll just sort of not just sort of wonder. I wonder where she is at the moment if she's not here.
Let's
not necessarily expecting an answer.
I think as you say that, I kind of go, let's get to the others. Maybe if they've got Lady Spence in town by now, we'll be able to find something more out. Wait a minute. Maybe we shouldn't go straight to them. Just have a look about first. Says she kind of follows the lady, right? See if, well, maybe we'll be able to spot her first.
I suppose we'll keep an eye out as we go back to meet up with everyone. Yeah, we'll especially try and keep an eye out for anyone who also looks like they're skulking towards the same direction.
My intention is kind of just linger and sneak about a bit before we get back to. Did we agree to meet back up at the pub? We must have done, I'm assuming.
I'm not sure it was ever 100% agreed.
It might be assumed, to be fair.
Play it by ear, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'll just be generally skulking around town then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we said we'd meet there.
I mean, they'll be there.
Town. Yeah.
They don't necessarily know where you will be, so I think it makes much more sense that you'll have said that.
I'll head back to the pub, and if Constance wants to just go ahead, I'll probably kind of hang back and just see if I can find anyone who might be lurking. That's kind of my objective.
Cool. Okay. So you get back into the pub, and the group in the pub, nothing untoward has occurred where you are. As long as you don't class that little flash of movement outside the window. And yeah, Lady Spence will have been chatting away, probably enjoying being out in public, you know, with a group of people who aren't giving her funny looks.
Yeah, so whilst chatting away, I think I would have been wanting to keep an eye on the rest of the pub, see whether anybody in particular is paying attention to us, that sort of thing. So I'll be trying to maintain some level of conversation, but it probably isn't particularly deep.
Okay, what you do notice that Lucy Jenkins is still in there and is sort of noticeably and potentially purposefully looking disinterested in your, or uninterested in your table.
Sure, yeah.
Compared to previous, you know, times. And you do occasionally catch Esme sort of shooting daggers over towards her table. Especially sort of as a new person sits down at that table, she'll often notice and kind of cast an angry glance over. But she doesn't say anything.
We haven't yet spoken to Lady Spence about the particulars of what. Sorry, is it Lucy or
Lucy Jenkins?
Yeah, Lucy. Yeah, we haven't because we've seen what Lucy Jenkins has been doing. I don't think we've discussed yet that people keep turning up, and that's probably something for later. I'll sort of leave that for later. But that's interesting.
Jonny, was my understanding that Lady Spence wasn't well regarded by most of the town?
Yeah, due to her
oddness.
Yeah, her open interest in fairy tales and strange happenings. You know, as well as maybe the fact that she's a single rich woman in town, potentially. That nobody's come out and said that, but
one thing after another, isn't it, with this woman? Well, I think that. I mean, does it seem to be that the pub is one of these refuges where there's not so many people who dislike her? Is it generally more accepting, or is it kind of like as much as any other place it seems to be, from my not knowing of the situation?
You don't
I can do an insight roll or something if you like.
I'll just say that because you've been in the church as well and spoken to the Reverend, you imagine that the pub is a much more pleasant place for her to be than the church would be. Yeah. You're certainly not getting, you know, occasionally somebody will wander in and kind of give her a second look. But certainly it's not like people don't seem to be whispering about her or anything like that. Whereas you could imagine in the church, they may be a bit more.
Well, I would be attempting to engage Lady Spence in some conversation about the circles, because we didn't have a chance to talk about it last time. And I think we instead chose to talk about, you know, the corpse, which I thought would be a better thing to talk about on a private carriage ride than in a pub.
Ah, yes. Well, as I say, the Historical Society may have more information for you, but my understanding is that the men and boys in the town were playing some kind of game on a Sunday and were punished for their lack of regard for the deity, of course, and were turned to stone. That's the general understanding, I think, of the stone circles.
I see.
Of course, then for years afterwards, they've been used for some sort of, you know, a site for esoteric gatherings and such. Yes, I believe. Well, I can't remember exactly how long they date, but certainly more than 100 years, I believe.
Well, that's the most interesting story.
Have any of those esoteric gatherings happened recently? Or are they all sort of part of history now?
As far as I'm aware, there have not been any while I have been alive here. But of course, esoteric gatherings can often be secretive, so I suppose it's possible. Although I would hope any esoteric gathering in town may invite me along to observe, but perhaps I'm wishing for a little too much there. But yes, certainly not as far as I'm aware. I believe they're all a thing of the past. The world moves on, don't you know?
It's certainly sad, yes. Well, I wonder what how are we doing with time? What sort of what part of the day are we in now?
Yeah, unless I'm completely mistaken, you will be getting towards darkness soon, I think. I think it was sort of late afternoon.
Yeah, I think we were hoping to be able to start heading out to the mall. I'd like to see the lights like just before it got dark with Lady Spence, rather than
Yeah.
heading out once it was already pitch black.
Yeah, so let's say that Hooks and Constance return. Oh,
Maybe
Constance?
not immediately, depending how my lurking goes. But if I lurk and find no one, then yeah.
Nobody's forthcoming immediately.
I will be like 5 minutes after Constance with a grumpy look on my face.
Stomping into the pub.
Hello?
A fruitful investigation, sister?
In a manner of speaking, we have confirmed there is somebody living out on that abandoned mill. It does seem to be a woman. There's dresses and things, but we heard that this Gladys person might be staying out there, and it seems that somebody is. We didn't come across anybody, but somebody's been there for sure, and seems to be settled in for a little while. But that's about it, I'm afraid.
Oh my.
I think Hux was going to see if he spotted anybody as we returned here, given this person is supposed to be interested in you, Lady Spence.
Yes, I must wonder what her desires are here, if she is resorting to remaining in a disused mill.
She's quite made herself at home by the looks of it.
I'm sure you can imagine that if a woman came to town with an interest in these things, I would quite happily have her stay in my home. I'm not sure, which makes me more concerned as to why she is seemingly following me around and remaining hidden.
Exactly so. I would have thought she would be quite interested in meeting you or something if she's got a similar interest. I wondered whether you maybe ought to leave a note, or perhaps try if you want to try and visit her there. Do you even know who owns the mill? Is it just completely abandoned now, or is there a landowner for the property?
I'm sure I could find out. Yes, leave that with me, and I shall find out who the owner is.
Presumably, I'm going to tramp in now grumpily. And then kind of sit down at the table and go, no one to be seen. Not anywhere. I don't know where she is. And then I'll immediately leave and go get a drink.
And maybe just as Hux is returning with his drink, well, shall we head off to see the lights then?
Poor Hux.
Hux glares at you. And then goes, yeah, all right. And then down said drink. Then burps unpleasantly.
Right, back out on the road then, I suppose. She doesn't even react to the burp from Hux.
I'm curious if anyone else does.
You get definitely a very disapproving look from me.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was going for.
Hux is in Wasling's good books
Obviously.
after the chase today.
Ah, I see.
He's the prize horse. He won the race. He burp as much as he likes.
Lady Spence gets up and opens the door and pushes you
we'll follow.
all through. Can you make me completely... I'm going to tell you that they're completely inconsequential vigilance rolls, please, so nobody spends anything on...
Can I also have a look at the gap between the two buildings? Again.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Might cause no... Might lead to nothing.
Now
I got 2 successes.
Now I've reduced my dice. I'm getting successes. 1 success.
Okay, anybody who gets any successes as you sort of pass out of the pub, I'll say that you glance behind you and you see Lady Spence catching Lucy's eye as she leaves and sort of mouthing goodbye, Lucy, as she leaves the pub. And then closes the door and follows you out and smiles.
So did you guys give Inga? Did you guys give a full description of everything that you saw at the house, or did you just kind of briefly go over what happened?
I mean, just a brief. There's clearly somebody living there. They're in for the night. They're certainly in for a while. They've got everything they need. There's bed, dresses, but no one was actually there at the time. Yeah.
I think I'd like to on the walk down. I would like to have a quiet word with Sister Constance about that, away from Lady Spence's hearing.
Just as a note, Gale doesn't see any more of anything down the side of the building.
But yeah, I'd like to ask: do you think you saw anything that was the same material as the piece of red that we found on the in that gap that I was looking at before?
No, I don't think so. I must confess I wasn't thinking of that at the time, but I don't think there was anything that sprung to mind there. No.
Okay, thanks.
There was nothing unusual or occult, obviously. Just that sprung out anyway. Just, I mean, there were a few fairy tale books, but the kind of thing you'd expect in any home.
Not my home, but never mind.
My
And hopefully not
children
your
only get
home either,
educational
Constance. About trains and planes and... Wait a second.
The kind of thing you might find in more fanciful homes.
Okay. Sorry, did you want to...
I was just going to say, might also just generally keep a bit of an eye out, see if that reporter bloke is around somewhere, but I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, would, vague awareness of the surroundings, not just looking for the lights, kind of looking back behind the way a bit as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm also looking back, to see if mysterious Gladys Pugh is following us, because I really want to find her now.
I think that you're all sort of reasonably comfortable that the journalist was fobbed off. But yeah, it's fine that you would sort of be keeping a cursory eye out, but you don't feel like you're certainly more than 50% sure that he's gone, and may chase you up later if Gale at least doesn't keep his side of the bargain of having a discussion with him later. But aside from that, you know.
Yeah, I don't feel like super under threat or anything, but yeah, definitely more cursory kind of.
Yeah. Okay, so you obviously have a reasonably good idea on where you're expecting these lights to show. So are you actually going off the road and back up onto the moors? Is that your plan?
I think so. I think
so. I think I would say we should stay a bit away from them, like stay like maybe like 500 meters or so away, but close enough that we could clearly pinpoint them if they lit up, but far enough away that we're not on top of them.
I think I would suggest like the times we've seen them, well, whenever we've seen them, we've been on the road. Although we think they're probably located somewhere off the road, it seems to be from the road that we'd spot them. So I think it might be sensible to stay on the road at least and just look in the right direction. At least to begin with.
Yeah, to begin with, I'm happy with that. If we don't see anything, then we can go have a track.
Okay. Yeah, make me some vigilance rolls, please. Justin, you can have an advantage for your map and the markings therein.
Nothing but 2s.
1 success.
I mean, rolling nothing but 2s is impressive on its own.
Yeah.
This is.
Can I get some extra points for that?
This is vigilance, right?
Yes.
2 successes.
Yeah, I got nothing. I think Mosling is going to complain of fatigue and retire to the building with a hunch.
Back to the house.
Oh, too late for me on this one. I had one too many pints. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember if Adam is with us at this point, or if he was left at the house with James.
I think Adam certainly came with you when you were up on the moor this morning.
Yeah, basically, I'm just wondering if he's with us. I would maybe suggest that he goes back with Mosling if he's going back to the house. It seems like bedtime.
Yeah, because we came back in the carriage, didn't we? So
yeah,
possibly the carriage can go back with.
Yeah, that's fine.
So me and Adam are taking the carriage back.
If Mosling's happy with that.
Yeah, that'd suit me just fine.
And if we think V would trust him with Mosling, but
skeptical of that, but we'll see what happens.
There's James at the other end. It's
and Mosling doesn't carry a gun, so it's like, what's the worst that could happen?
Okay, so those who are staying, what were the? Sorry, was it one success for you, Steve? 2 for you and 1 for Inga. Okay. Henry is sort of looking where Mosling has pointed out before leaving that is kind of the area where they were. And you sort of past the golden hour in terms of light, and it's kind of in that dusky twilight now where you can kind of still see, but if you had a torch it'd be much more pleasant. And it's actually out of the corner of your eye that you see a little bit of light moving. So if you've been directed to the right place, it's not quite where they were previously. And I think Constance sees your head shift and then kind of looks over at that direction as well, and also spots them. And you would say that versus the sort of hilltop, which is where you saw them previously, these will be much more towards where the stone circles were.
Okay.
Does that mean they're a bit nearer to the road? Although I haven't spotted them, I suppose.
It's a bit nearer to town, right?
Nearer to town, pretty much the same distance away from the road.
Got it.
Lady Spence. Look. I'll point, and assuming she looks and can see them. You said you might have seen lights before.
Oh my. Yes. Off we go then. And she sets off down the road.
Right, yeah.
Presumably, the first I noticed them
Yes.
is that hearing her say, "Off we go." Then I just look around like, Oh, that way. Yeah, different place. Oh,
What sort of distance is there between where we saw them originally and the?
A few hundred meters, less
Okay.
than a kilometer.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
As we start going, I'll mostly just like take the. I'll assume that the Lady Spencer's heading the right direction. I'll be keeping a lookout for Florence. Not Florence. Gladys Pugh. Now, gosh, Florence Pugh. That's where this has now got stuck in my head. Look out for Gladys. Now that there seems to be some sort of activity and Lady Spencer's here, like I'm actually not looking for the lights anymore. That'll be heading out looking for. Yeah.
Is Lady Spence being attempting to be stealthy or just striding towards?
Just striding down the road.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I guess we're still on the road. We haven't left yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got sort of the at the point that you are now. There's some sort of tree cover between you and where you know the lights to at least have been. You can't see currently whether they're definitely. You occasionally get a little glimpse, but yeah, you'll need to. I think you're assuming probably that she's judging a rough distance, and then we'll cut a way up from there.
Sure.
Or she may know where to cut through from here to get to the stone circles.
I'm guessing, given trees and hills and things, there's no way of getting to the lights without them leaving our view in the process.
If you'd gone up from where you saw them, and then, but you'd have been going up a reasonable amount to then drop down again.
Yeah.
So she's essentially taking you 90 degrees and then 90 degrees.
Hux is just suspicious of these sorts of lights. They'll have the habit of disappearing if we stop looking at them. So
if you want to go a different way, then she's just setting off and assuming that you will follow. So if you want to go the way that you know you'll be able to keep them in sight, then that's fine.
I think that thought occurs to me way too late. And I'm already halfway through. I'm just not going to change my mind, but I'm going to try and keep watching them as much as possible.
Sure. So all of a sudden, she sort of breaks off from the road and cuts into the tree line. And as you get to that area where she's cut in, you can see that there's almost like a trod path through this bit. So it is actually like a used little, not a trail as such, but certainly where people come through. And then you break out the other side of the tree line and you can still see these lights sort of dancing slightly uphill from where you are. And at this point, she makes to slow down a little and sort of lowers herself slightly.
Yeah, I'll do the same. I kind of was getting to the point of being about to say that, so that's good to see. Now, I guess this is the closest we've ever been to the lights. Can we get any indication of what they are now we're closer? Are they like moving like someone's holding them? Are they moving like something's floating in the air? Like that sort of thing? Are they big? Are they just a point of light?
They look to be sort of floating orbs of light. They don't look like lanterns that somebody's holding. They look like they are just themselves in the air, potentially sort of this size, maybe. Again, because of the light and you don't know, you can't see where they are. Like they could be nearer and a bit smaller or further away and a bit bigger. It's difficult to tell exactly. But yeah, you think probably sort of a little bit, maybe a little bit around the size of a tennis ball, maybe slightly bigger than a tennis ball. Cool. But they seem to be, and there's sort of 10 just kind of floating around each other in the air. And
still no indication that they're doing anything but just floating of their own free will.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So as you've sort of taken a pause there, let's cut to Gale. So you arrive back at the house, assuming that is where you're going in the car.
That's where I'm heading.
Yeah. Are you heading straight inside?
Yeah. I'm heading inside. Okay. And I am asking if James is willing to look after Adam.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Is his mum
God knows if I know.
with the rest of them? Oh, okay, right. Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't
fine.
know what you just keep it entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want a sandwich, young man?
No,
He
I'm good. I'm good.
nods and-
Make sure he gets something to eat.
Yes, very good, sir.
If he looks busy, I'm going to go up to Lady Spencer's room, and I'm going to check to see if she has any items of clothing that match the fabric or material of what we found in the thing. I want to do a check to see if she has any red items of clothing that match that piece of fabric, and if they do, if there's any pieces of any tears in them or things like that could match them.
Okay. Yeah, you can head up and you go into her room, which is slightly more lavish than each of yours, but all of yours are quite nice anyway.
I assume lavisher.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than your rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of a suite. So you're going into the wardrobe.
Yeah, it's I'm glad that there's no one in the house, because this is clearly the worst situation for Mosling to be caught in. But this is what I'm doing anyway.
It's investigate, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I'm principally looking for. I mean, I don't think that either my camera or paper will help me in this situation, either in terms of how it will look or in terms of how it will give me bonus dice. So I won't bother trying to add those. But yeah. Oh, I can push, can't I? I'm going to push.
Okay.
And I'm going to gain, I guess, hopeless. There we go.
Embarrassed. That should be
embarrassed. Yeah. And that does that give me having one mental condition? That doesn't get applied for the push, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
Right. Okay, I got one success.
You spend a reasonable amount of time checking through her room, like as a whole, because you can you hear that James has actually taken Adam outside at one point. You heard the door close, so you know that even if they come back in, you'll have a reasonable amount of time to be able to move. So you're quite confident that you can safely investigate. You dig through a bunch of stuff
carefully. I don't want this to be obvious.
Yeah. You don't find anything that matches.
Cool. That's good.
That matches that thing. You see a couple of books that make you specifically quite uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you also find a bunch of unopened correspondence on
I don't open those.
Dressing table. Okay.
I mean, they're addressed to Lady Spence?
Yes.
In what fashion? They're not okay. Fair enough then.
There are
identifying on them.
So many of them are written in different hand. There are 2 that you can see for definite are written in the same handwriting, but all of the others are written in different handwriting.
Good. Okay. And there's no, but apart from some slightly odd books, there's nothing in there that I go, Lady Spence was behind it all along.
No, not at all.
In that case,
there's a horse tied up in the corner, but
yeah,
no.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, less of that, and maybe a clothes source. But yeah, I'll as long as leave the place looking as best I can as I left it, and then I will go out to find Adam and James and check they're all fine.
Okay, let's cut back to the other group. So you are
just
sort
ask,
of
going back to, because I think Mosling was the one who heard Lady Spence, or saw Lady Spence mouthing a pointed goodbye to Lisa. I've got a blind
Lucy?
spot.
Lucy.
Lucy. Yeah, it was Mosling who saw that, right? I think because you passed your vigilance roll.
I think a
everybody
few
else
of
did.
us saw it actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
two or
I
three
think,
of us
I
saw
think,
it.
yeah.
I know I
I-
did.
I think it
saw
was just me that didn't.
I saw it.
I think I was the only one who
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, I
I
didn't
think
did as
Okay.
well.
Well, Hux, if you did, have you? Okay, yeah. Have you mentioned that? Did you? Have you?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
I thought it was adorable banter, and I just smiled at it.
Cool.
I don't know if Gail would have.
So
so-
you, as a group, have sort of stopped now. Sort of crouched in like the dip of the hill, and you can just see sort of over the crest a little way away these dancing lights.
Again, I'm actually probably a bit less interested initially at the lights and just sense checking that if there's anybody else around, especially if the path looks like, there's a bit of a desire line around here or something, then yeah, if there's any other people who might be around, especially if it's a Gladys-like looking person.
Definitely a good idea. Yeah.
I'm not going to make you roll. There's nobody else around here at the moment.
Is it? It's kind of dusk, right? So we've still got fairly good
Yes.
visibility.
Yeah.
Do I think like, if assuming that normal human eyes, how easily could we be seen by someone who was over by the lights? Is it that sort of like, oh, it's super bright and they could easily see us, or if we kind of keep a bit low, it would be
No, I
difficult?
think because you crouch down, like if you were making a silhouette, they'd be able to see the silhouette,
Mhm.
But if you're sort of low and they glance, they're not going to see you. If somebody stares in your direction for a minute, they'd probably
Yeah.
pick out some figures. But
Okay. In that
yeah.
case, yeah, I'll just say, okay, yeah, like that. We all stay low, just stay quiet and see. Just keep going until we see something, I suppose, or something changes. Okay. And then yeah, start moving forward. Unless Lady Spence leads, I'm happy to lead.
Yeah, if you set off, she follows closely behind you, I think.
I think I'd maybe whisper on the way, Lady Spence, do you know anything about these things?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what they are, so until I figure out what they are, I can't really assign any characteristics to them other than floating lights, I suppose.
I might just give B a quick look, because I think B had mentioned that she maybe at some time seen some lights, and just give her a bit of a querying look, and see if she responds at all or seems to confirm that this is sort of familiar or not. But I don't know. She's got much to say.
I mean, I've heard of a will-o-wisp, of course, which seems... But this is perhaps too far from the road to be leading travelers astray. I'm not sure.
We should watch out for the marshy ground.
Can you all make observation rolls, please?
One success.
7 dice and no successes.
That's the year 0 system for you. I was rolling 6 dice. I got 1 success.
If it makes you feel any better, Inga, I also rolled 7 dice and got no successes. Yeah, okay.
Constance is pulling out her crucifix, her little her little holy symbol. She's obviously distracted at this moment.
Okay, you get to a little bit of a crest of a hill that you've been kind of climbing. And you can see now silhouetted in, not in the distance, but a little way away, the stone circles. And you can see that these lights are kind of dancing around and above them now. You're probably 150 meters away
Okay.
at this point. So you know that there's the marshy area between you and there.
So they, how large were these stone circles again? Are they sort of roving fairly widely then? What's the
like circumference of them almost?
Hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty large.
Okay.
I'll get the actual numbers up for you, maybe.
Oh, really? Just after a rough idea as to whether they were, just how widely they were moving, but always good to know.
Yeah, I think I would say a guess. They are, because there's 3 circles. So I would say that it's probably between 50 and 100 meters from the end of the furthest one to the end of the nearest one.
Right, and they're
just
traveling
sort of
that sort of distance,
just floating around. I mean, they're not necessarily moving end to end, but they're kind of over that general area.
And are these 10 lights sort of 10-ish lights separate, or do they move as a clump, or?
They stay reasonably close together, but they're not all moving sort of in uniform.
Yeah, sure.
If you had to describe the movement, it's sort of dancing.
Okay, I'm sure that's fine.
So is the problem now, if we want to get closer, we've got to tackle that marshy area in the dark?
Yeah, does Lady Spence, has she sort of stopped, or is she, she was sort of boldly striding on before. Is she still kind of crawling her way a bit closer?
Yeah, I mean, Hux has kind of taken the lead, so if Hux is pausing, she's pausing. She's not going to head off ahead if you are stopping.
I guess I'll turn and just say, yeah.
Stopped.
Well, I want to get closer, but there's the marshy bit here. In the dark, it might be a bit hard. And we might make a bit more noise and be a bit more obvious crossing it too.
I think I'll just be sort of staring at trying to figure out whether there's any sort of pattern to the movement. If it's tracing out shapes, or if there are any sort of repeating motifs, anything like
that. Sure. Make me probably investigation, right?
Is this an investigation roll that's just going to turn one of them mad or something?
Investigation. Okay, that's logic plus that, which is going to be 5 plus 3. I do. Would the sixth sense? God, that's hard to say.
That's the.
Are there Vaesen nearby? Is magic involved? That sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, you can. I would say that they're separate things, but I'm happy for you to also do that, or do that instead.
I'll study the patterns. I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I get 1 success.
Okay. You look for a while, and they just seem to be sort of swirling around, and then something sort of clicks, and you think that sort of the nearest thing that you could compare this movement to is like some of the kind of moves that you might get at a Kaylee dance. So there'll be sort of 2 of them will sort of swirl around each other, and then another may appear, and they might.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely it doesn't seem completely random, but also isn't like I said, it isn't a uniform. Everything's moving 3 feet to the left, and then it's all it's
come to the right.
Yeah.
There,
Did you want to do the sixth sense as well?
If I could give it a go, I mean that would be it. Keys off the back of
Or is that-
investigation and requires
okay.
extra successes, and I didn't get any extra successes, so I'm kind of
Right. Okay.
I'm fine, sort of.
Okay.
You know.
Cool.
So I'll whisper to Lady Spence. There do seem to be elements of. Well, they're not exactly dancing, but I can see vague patterns here.
Oh yes. I'm not sure about you, but I'm not 100% on moving through this marshy area.
Me neither. Hux might be able to assist us, but what do we have a plan? What do we do if we reach them?
I think I'm slightly out of earshot and kind of I've found some sort of stick and I'm trying to poke to see where is less boggy in front as subtly as I can.
to not
find
poking the
route
lights.
forward. Yeah, because that's the best kind of way forward I've got at this point without any other plan. I suspect I kind of don't hear you because of that, but should I make a roll for poking bog, Johnny, or should we just assume that it's not very successful?
What role do you think that is, Sam?
I think it's a force roll. I think I'm really forcing that.
I'm just.
You shouldn't really force it on the bog, Sam.
If you fail, your stick gets stuck.
That's how Elvis died.
So.
Turns out there's a whole chapter for.
This is the bog chapter. Don't even refer to the bog chapter. I wouldn't put it past Vaesen.
I think that it may be a vigilance roll.
Okay.
So in the vigilance section, just to warrant this, it says if you succeed, the GM provides you with information. You may realize what is about to happen, who the leader of a group is, which people might become a threat, or how best to tackle a situation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's
that could have been better. I'll roll my 3 dice.
Of course, because you got a penalty from you.
Yeah, I got a penalty and
not
from being angry. Are you still angry?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still.
I think Hux has unfortunately positioned himself directly where he's sort of like surrounded in front by a marshy section. So sort of everywhere you poke and prod at, that it just sinks in, and you can't figure out a good way to continue.
Yeah, Hux is getting increasingly angry and frustrated and just poking around, but nothing is happening really.
Do we just stay here and observe?
Does this
noticed anything? If that's, I don't know if they can. I don't know what it is, but nothing seems to have changed particularly as we've approached.
You don't recognize them from any of your reading or any of your research, then nothing springs to mind about what they might be.
As I say, a will-o-wisp. I mean, I suppose the marshy area is. It could be attempting to lead people into the marshes, perhaps.
Would we be in danger, do you think, if we got closer? If we did find our way through the marsh?
I've no idea.
This is your special encounter, Lady Spence. would you like to try getting closer? Or would you be happy to observe?
I think we perhaps stay here a little while longer. We know the way back. We can stay until it gets darker potentially and see if anything unfolds.
I
That
just
seems-
I'm making a muffled, annoyed noise. I go, squelch. There goes my stick anyway.
Yes, that perhaps seems prudent. I'm not sure we can navigate our way through the bog just at the moment. That childhood game you mentioned, the stone circles. It didn't
Yes.
take the form of a dance, did it?
No, I don't believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was a bit more competitive than a dance, in my understanding.
Perhaps a dance off.
Constance, I think, will just start praying quietly, mostly silently, maybe the occasional little mumble to herself. And yeah, I guess half keep an eye on that, but almost like more so to see if if they're just going to go away at some point.
I think Hux is actually so frustrated by all this and tired from his exhaustion that he lies back with the intention of just watching them and trying to be quiet because he knows he's just going to do something rash otherwise, and then quite quickly falls asleep. Unless something.
So
happens.
I'm going to ask everybody to make stealth rolls actually, because you
Yeah,
are
that's fair.
attempting to remain hidden.
I'm sure that will work out just fine.
This might be the first stealth roll of the game, actually.
Precision.
I've asked for
Oh
stealth rolls
dear,
before.
right. Yeah, this is not necessarily.
Yeah, I failed, and no one is surprised by this.
I also failed.
I
I've
also
been rolling
failed.
terribly today.
Roll real bad
Okay.
too.
Everyone sneezes in unison.
You all see the lights stop moving. And then there is a and then they disappear. They fade out. And you are left in darkness.
So they don't actually move away, they just sort of fade.
They just fade out. Yeah. Justin?
I just want to say as well that I would have, by this point, sent James back with the carriage to pick them up. I thought I might go myself, but then I thought Mosley wouldn't go himself.
Yeah,
Mosley would
okay.
send James.
So in that case, if you're paying any attention sort of towards the road, you do see a lantern light sort of bobbing down from towards the house.
Did you hear that laugh?
Yeah,
It's awful,
I think they might have.
cruel, creepy.
Well, now they're gone. Shall we try and take a look up there before we go, or doesn't matter if we make a bit of noise now?
If you think we can make it through the marshes, but in the dark, I don't see why not.
Now they're not. Now I'm not worried about being stealthy. I'll just take a load of time and tromp around and try and find a safe way across. Johnny, is that all right?
Yeah, you could also light your
Oh, yeah.
lanterns.
I'll just do
which,
that.
which would
Yeah.
help in spotting bad areas.
I think that makes no difference now. So yeah, I'll just light a lantern.
Yeah.
And
And
find
we
a safe
haven't
spot.
seen any sign of Gladys Pugh or anybody. Fascinating.
Yep, I'll cross the
Then yeah, I
bog
guess
and
we
start having a
Yeah,
look. Sorry.
cool. Yeah,
we'll
Lady
follow
Spence
you.
follows you as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was certainly something, wasn't it?
Have you seen anything like that before?
As I said, I do think I've seen something resembling that, but from afar, and certainly no disconcerting laughter involved.
I mean, to be fair, laughter is, well, better than anything I've experienced so far. The red cap we encountered was certainly rather more forthright.
Oh my, yes, I can imagine from what I've read.
If it had laughed, though, Mr. Bonville, I don't think it would have been any the better.
True,
I don't think
true.
the laughter suggests it's not an awful creature.
I agree, but we don't know yet whatever this thing wants or these things want. Let's have a look around, see if there's anything to be found. Maybe they disappeared to thin air. Maybe they went somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe they heard my whispered prayers and that scared them off.
If you're all poking around, do you want to make investigation rolls? We've not done an investigation roll yet, have we? Because
I did one earlier, but that was for the movement of the light.
Okay. Because in Vaesen, for viewers as well, it kind of says that it rolls are almost for a scene. But I'll take this as separate for Henry. But typically, if you do in some games, you'll sort of do a stealth roll to get up to a door, and then you might have to do a stealth roll again 2 minutes later to pass somebody in the hallway. It's like if you roll well, and if you roll poorly, it also just carries on. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Magnus is just done. He's not succeeding anything. He
Okay.
just wants bed. I did actually fail. That's not roleplay.
Well, I get one success. With 8 strikes.
You're carrying the crew today.
Has Henry got a lantern? Do you think a lit lantern with him?
Sure. Yeah.
You could have all taken them off the cart. So if you want to have brought one and lit it, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. You think that you can see some very faint, small footsteps that look to be almost following the shapes of the dance.
Okay.
But it's sort of like you're trying to figure out if you're just making that with your mind, or if you can actually see these things, or if they're just coincidental divots in the ground, because it's sort of one small area. It's not like you can trace out the entire pattern. There's a small section where you think maybe, and it's worth noting as well that these lights were floating sort of a few feet off the ground, so it doesn't look like somebody was dancing here holding a light and you couldn't see them because the light was pointing towards you and not at them. It's potentially linked, but it doesn't look like somebody holding a light.
And are they clear enough to do they look small but human, or is it just impossible to tell?
They don't look. They look more animally, if anything, than human. They certainly don't have 5 toes.
Okay.
And they're sort of a little bit more sort of pointed toes, or whatever their feet appendages are, than a human's foot. They're more sort of finger length and shape, you would say, than toe. Toes are quite short, aren't they, versus a finger. Almost like sort of what would be the nearest thing Henry would compare it to? Maybe like a rabbit paw might be the nearest sort of animal that you could compare it to.
While you're finding this and Magnus is finding nothing, you hear from behind you just a grumble and a kick of a stone.
Poor Hux. I have to retire to the get a drink, retire to the library or something, and. But
unless you want to try the mill, and see if Gladys has maybe returned back for the evening.
That's a possibility, I guess. I'll show Lady Spence the footsteps if I can, the footprints, just so she's seen them.
Ah. Yes, are they? Is this not a rabbit, Henry? Do you not think, perhaps?
It's possible, but I think they seem to follow the tracks of the lights. It's not conclusive. But
it would be good if I suppose on a day if the ground were a little wetter here in the there'd been a little rain, that would perhaps be.
Well, they seem to occur quite frequently. We've now seen them 2 nights running, so
This is true, yes. Plenty to be getting on with tomorrow, I suppose.
Certainly, yes. So what do we wish to do for the rest of the evening? Constance Hux, did you plan to revisit the mill?
I'm going to bed. I'm done.
Well, perhaps
It's an option. There's no way of knowing if it is Gladys is back or where she might have been when we did visit. It might be completely fruitless. If we've got the carriage anyway, I suppose we could do a quick tour about town, but yeah, maybe it's just as well coming back tomorrow.
Well, we are down on numbers now. Yes, perhaps we should retire for the evening and maybe a little research and tackle things again tomorrow.
Yes, all right.
Cool. Yeah, so you head down to the road, and James has parked up. I'm assuming that Mosling has given him a rough idea on where to pull up. He wouldn't have known that you were slightly further up, so you'll get down to the road and you'll be sort of a couple of 100 meters away from where he is. But he, as he sees you break the tree line, he sort of meets you halfway to where you are. So, and he gets down and helps Lady Spence up first, and then offers to help anyone else up onto the cart as well. Everyone safe and accounted for?
Yes, all fine. Well, I think perhaps friend Hux here might benefit from
A bar.
I
think we could all do with one after crawling about in the marshes.
Well, true, very true.
Yes. Right. Back home. Sets off. And you return home, and Adam comes out and greets B, and then James says, "Right, I'll start warming some water then." Oh,
James?
Yes, and food. You must be hungry unless you've eaten.
I guess we are. We probably didn't eat at the inn, did we? We were chatting.
Yes, perhaps some sandwiches in the library again. We'll do some more reading.
Yes, right.
Or whatever else you prepared for dinner, of course.
Yes, I'll start on the water, and then I'll be right with you.
Is Gail about to meet us when we get back, or are you doing something else? Justin?
No, Gail is writing by the fire.
Okay.
But
he's not absent. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
I know, not absent. No.
Okay, cool. I reckon probably the last anyone else will see of Hux for the evening is I stomp by, nod at Gail briefly, grab a bottle, and head up to my room.
I'll turn over a new leaf and start writing Hux drinks too much.
Just in the middle of your book about roads. Great. Yeah,
Well, that
we
was
would
certainly
head to the
an
library.
excursion.
Did you
Yes.
see something then?
We did. Yes, we got quite a good view of those dancing lights. They were nearer the stone circles this time around.
They disappeared after I started praying, so it's definitely they're definitely
The connection.
bad news.
Not Christian lights then.
They left
Absolutely
with
not.
a giggle, would you call it?
Well, a laugh of some sort.
It was almost childlike. I don't. It was very disturbing.
Yes, quite like a game. She starts picking a couple of books off the shelves and rifling through.
I'll be keeping a
Yeah.
note of the titles and just maybe, yes, watching with interest. Maybe
Does
offering
this change the
assistance
short
if-
list of books? Lady Spence, can we help?
She's sort of looking in one and she just picks one up and holds it out. Do you want to make some learning rolls? Anybody who is helping?
Sure. Constance is really bad at this, but she's a trier.
Justin, is Gail assisting or after the other book-related incident? Is he avoiding?
I think I am. I'm happy to put aside what I've been working on and grab a book.
Okay. Do you want to make a learning roll as well then?
Certainly.
One success
One
for
success.
Constance.
Which is very fitting because I spent my last points adding 1 point to learning after all of this reading that we've been doing and failing that she's been doing every time. Figured it's like practice. So she put a point in there. We've got 1 success.
Nice.
How exciting.
Well, I got nothing, so
Okay.
with 7 dice. So yeah, you're doing better than me.
Can I use my extra dice from my book collection?
Sure.
I want 8 dice. And the one that fell on the floor is a 6. That was the only 6.
Okay. Yeah, floor dice count if they're a success and not if they're a failure. That's the rule, isn't it?
That's the rule. That's the rule. If you can see what the result is, I think they count.
Yeah. So 2 successes across the group. Is that right? Yeah. 1 for Constance and 1 for Gail. Okay. Between you come across 2 separate accounts, one of which is a fairy tale, which I will say that Constance has picked out. Justin, does Gail's book collection include some books from the society?
I think we did say that he took some.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, in that case, you find like a society-based entry from a previous investigation. And between you, you think that you may have figured out that the Vaesen in question may be pixies. Separate and distinct from fairies, Gail will be happy to know. Yeah, the previous incident, seems to have been that Gale reads about from the society is one of somebody having set off on a journey which should have taken them roughly an hour on foot. And when they set off, it was bright sunshine and not a cloud in the sky and early morning. And when they arrived at their destination, as far as they were concerned, they had just walked that hour. But it was now dark and raining, and they were drenched to the bone. And that was the beginning of the investigation. And as the investigation proceeded, the society found a small group of pixies were essentially playing jokes on passers-by. And the fairy tale is of a similar ilk. It's a sort of playful thing that maybe sometimes goes wrong because they're so you need to be careful around them. They're not necessarily malicious, but be careful because they can do things that may end badly.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling the wheels off of carts, perhaps.
Well, I was thinking more. Well, Dan and Stallion, have they interfered in his journey?
Do you think they'd have gone into town, right up to the pub?
I guess it's unlikely, but
We've only seen them out here on the road, just out of town. I suppose the Stone Circle's a little closer, but if they'd been in town, surely other people would have. There'd been other things going wrong and more mischief.
well,
Maybe not.
possibly, I guess.
I
It's
suppose
just that
recently, they've only just recently moved into town. I don't know.
Do we have anything else on pixies that indicates that they appear as dogs or turn people into pillars of white stone or other things like that that match any of the other things that? Is there anything like that in the stories or not so much?
Not in what you found. What I will say is tomorrow you can research again. If you want to try and get some more information now that you've got something sort of narrowed down, now you've figured out, you think what they are, it'll be easier, excuse me, for you to look for more information on that. But for tonight, that's essentially what you find in your looking.
So I think with fresh eyes in the morning, perhaps we also better look for any rituals or the proper ways to banish these sorts of creatures. Make sure we get rid of the pests.
it would certainly be wise to, yes, prevent ourselves from being whisked away if that's what happened.
Jolly good work, you two. No doubt I'll
Thank you
now
for the book.
not be able to sleep as I continue on down this rabbit hole, as it were.
Well, I'm sure.
Right,
They won't come in here.
Oh no! I simply mean I'll be.
Of course.
Now we have a foothold on the investigation. Perhaps it will be easier to gather further information.
Lady Spence, do you have any interest in trying to visit this mill to see if we can find Gladys, or would you be all right with us potentially leaving a note for her? I don't want to involve you in that line of inquiry if it's not something you're interested in, or would rather avoid, given this person's probably been following you, but it might gain her interest. I'm not sure, or scare her away. Could go either way.
Yes, it's let me think on it overnight. It's an interesting. Obviously, if she wishes me ill, then perhaps making her aware that we're aware of her is not the best tactic. But equally, if she does wish me ill, it would be good to scare her off, but I would like to know why she wishes me ill. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Let me ponder on this alone later.
I am slightly surprised that she didn't make an appearance this evening. Perhaps the fact that we were around, we certainly didn't try to be discreet. Perhaps she... Oh, I don't know.
Yes, perhaps her awareness of a group with me is enough to keep her away.
Let's sleep on it, as you say. Perhaps a problem for tomorrow morning.
Yes. James comes in with some plates of hot food. Here you are. And kind of passes them out and passes one to B. And you hear him say, I scraped the burnt bits off as he passes her the plate. And then says, water will be ready for baths in 20 minutes. But I'll keep it warm until you're ready.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
He then sits down with a plate as well, and you can see that his is the most burnt out of anybody's.
As it should be. Now, I'm aware that I can attempt to heal one condition per day by engaging in a relaxing activity with another player. I don't suppose anyone wants to take a bath with me.
Constance will offer to pray with you.
That would be quite progressive, I think.
It would be quite progressive, I think. I mean, it does say you could just keep watch. So maybe I could take the bath and someone else could stand by the door. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if that line's going to work out. Ah, well, try something else.
Which have you got a condition?
Yes, I'm hopeless.
Of course,
and not just outside of the game. Generally.
You look a little lost, Mosling. Would you like to pray with me for a while before bed?
I think that could be a good idea. I think I'm.
For the record, not in the bath. That would be like in the library or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's reasonable. Yeah. No, I think that could be good. And I'll remind Sam that also you can heal physical conditions this way.
Yeah, I might, because you disappeared off to your room, didn't you? I might.
No, being grumpy. Sorry, playing character, not helping.
I might take a plate of food up and sort of knock on your door.
Yeah. I think Hux will be like sitting in bed, unable to leave room because having stormed up grumpily, but also actually quite hungry. So we'll be very grateful to receive food.
Cool.
And we'll have it gladly, and perhaps even quietly talk to you for a while. I did look at the condition stuff. Do we need to do something special? Otherwise, it's just a day, or is it like?
I think for.
So. Yeah, when you go, Steve.
Yeah, I did have this written down. I think if it's just like a one-on-one sort of healing one condition for one person, I think it's a scene.
Yeah,
but I can check that. I do have notes.
It says a short scene
right.
involving at least one other person, NPC or player character. James could have a bath with me if he wanted to.
I think Hux will gladly accept the food that you brought up and thank you for it, and then actually invite you to like join him briefly in the room for a quiet chat.
Sure, that works
I
out.
think we'll probably actually just chat more than anything about how utterly frustrated he is about the reporter, because that I mean, I know the anger was technically from later on, but I think that was the root source of the anger originally, and how utterly irrelevant and unhelpful it is for this sort of thing, and that he didn't want to say it, but actually it's kind of worrying too.
Yeah, I will share Hux's concerns on that front, certainly.
Yeah. Cool. I will untick my angry then. Yay. Still exhausted, but might deal with that later.
I think you can heal more than activities heal 2 mental or is it mental or physical?
Really? Oh, that's nice. Okay.
But I don't know if it's I don't know if it's either mental or physical, or if it's mental
I
or
will
physical.
check. That's a good
So,
point.
Yeah.
sorry, so
Um,
rest is a scene, and describe a scene together with one or
Yeah.
several other PCs to recover from 2 conditions once per day.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could recover from
And it's
one of
2
those.
conditions of
Yeah,
any.
it's just anything except broken.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any
Okay,
others are fine.
that gets rid of my exhausted and my angry. Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Makes perfect sense.
Constance is very pleased with her good work,
Indeed.
engaging Mosling in prayer.
Indeed.
What a good day she's had today.
Indeed.
Otherwise,
then, I guess.
Yeah, to bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody make me
What? Isn't bedtime safe now?
Spicy. Spicy.
If you say fear tests, I won't be very happy.
Agility. How about an agility check? That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Vigilance, maybe.
Everyone falls out of bed.
I'm gonna say vigilance.
Yeah.
Yeah, back up to 4.
1 success.
No successes. I'm not re-rolling that.
1 success.
One success.
Okay. Everybody but Hux, you have a very normal night's sleep.
But I needed a good night's sleep. What?
Sam, Hux is obviously troubled by last night's events, and he sort of, you're in and out of sleep during the night, and at times you sort of wake and you've got, you sometimes get the sort of dancing things in front of your eyes, and you at numerous points throughout the night you're kind of unsure whether you're dreaming about these lights or whether you're awake and you have these dancing specks, or whether you're awake and the lights are dancing in front of your eyes, and your mind's just kind of reeling, trying to come to terms with all of this stuff.
Gotcha. So it's not like nightmares, it's just unsettled sleep.
Yeah, and it's that kind of almost like, when you have to get up early and you wake up and you can't go back to sleep because you don't know when the alarm's going to go. It's like that kind of unsettled feeling, and every time you're awake for a little while because you kind of just not settled and restful.
Yeah, that makes sense. In that case, assuming nothing else happens in the night, Hux will be the first up and will be sat in the sitting room smoking when everyone else comes down.
I'm so glad that Hux is doing something that's good for his lungs. He needs to. Take part in this kind of relaxing.
That good healthful smoke.
Good. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You need it after being so exhausted yesterday.
The follies of drink, of course.
James brings you some tea if you want tea.
I'm there like way before James is awake. I'm there from like before dawn sort of thing. So James probably comes down first and is like, "Oh, rashes or something." I don't know.
Poor James probably gets a fright of his life wandering in, and you just like sat there staring downstairs.
I reckon I probably don't light any lanterns or anything. Yeah, so I'll
What-
probably
what-
just sit in the dark.
What
and then
does
the
what
sun's
does
just
Hux
coming up, so-
what does Hux smoke? Does he does he have a pipe?
Yeah. What? How cigarettes probably aren't about yet.
You could have cigarettes, but I imagine you'd have like you
I think
could.
you'd probably have a pipe.
Yeah.
That would
Although
be cheaper, right?
I
it would
think
be
John's
cheaper
picked
to
to
get
get cigarettes in, and I
tobacco.
quite like the idea of this being kind of a
You
premium.
could
thing.
you could have stolen cigarettes.
Hux has now started
Yeah.
buying cigarettes because he can afford it now.
Because you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so James probably just sees the glowing ember on the end of a cigarette
yeah,
in the
exactly.
living room as he comes downstairs.
Dancing around.
Mm.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Couldn't sleep well. Sorry to startle you.
No, not at all. My fault. I'll bring some tea.
No rush.
He scampers off and returns with some tea. And light is starting to appear.
I will be doing nothing else other than just sitting and kind of thinking quietly to myself until the others come down.
Yeah, I think. Well, Henry would come down at a standard time. Be again somewhat surprised that Hux is about, because usually it's
Much later that Hux is
yeah.
about.
Gotta drag him out. Gotta beat on the door to get him out.
Are you all right? It's a bit early for you, isn't it?
Couldn't get those lights out of my head last night while I was asleep.
No, that's
Not bother
fair,
you?
I guess.
Did it not bother you?
No, I slept quite well, thankfully.
Good, I suppose, although I was kind of wondering if it would just be me. Don't know. Didn't feel... Well, I mean, obviously they were odd, but I didn't feel particularly, scared or anything when I was there. But just didn't leave my head.
I think it's understandable. It's we've seen strange things over the past few weeks, so
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Everybody up and been provided tea?
Yeah, I think so. Do you want some snuff, Hux? I might have some snuff in the box somewhere.
Yeah, Hux will probably accept the snuff.
I'll see if I can find some. I think I've got it packed away in a corner of the box. I'm rooting around in my book bag. Maybe it's like inside a book that has a secret compartment.
Back in the days when all of the recreational drugs were just perfectly normal for the gentry.
I think snuff is actually just tobacco. It's just
Fair
you
enough.
snuff it.
I was going to say there could be a lot of actual other drugs, to be fair, too. So,
Lady Spence comes downstairs and is kind of in the entryway to this room and says, good morning. And then there's a knock at the front door.
Like a
and
Jim
she
Lady
goes,
Spence walking. Like that's
"Excuse
what
me."
working in. It's just
and you hear the door open and you hear, Gladys Pugh, I presume. And we'll leave it there.
Finally. Jonny,
Thank
if she's
goodness.
mistaken it's not Gladys Pugh, I think I'm going to reach through the camera and hit you.
oh, just the mailman.
I'm sorry, it's Robert, the barman. I've forgotten your face.
I have face blindness. I am
Or
really bad
it's
at
just
this.
that reporter just there ready to interview us.
I would like face blindness to be part of more storylines to do with mysteries because it's going to be great red herring.
It was all of them.
To be fair,
cool.
this person's been wandering around and nobody's recognized her or remembered her. So yeah, there's like a town-wide face blindness for Gladys.
Yeah,
seemingly.
Exactly. It's pretty unsettling. I mean, I'm still thinking she's not a person and only we can see her as something. I don't know, So anyway, we'll see. Sorry.
It's okay. Thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we can pop them up on screen and discuss them. Other things on the channel, Wednesday, Simba Room, Sunday the 19th of Feb, Sam there is going to run Call of Cthulhu. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm playing. It's going to be good. Links below the video to our YouTube, Twitch, social media, Discord. Join that and come chat to us, and our Patreon if you want to support us on there. Also, I've already spotted, thank you, Lord Malice, for the Prime subscription. 14 months is ages. So thank you very much for that. That's all I have to say, I think, for now.
And I think we've had a new follow today from Ken Herndon, if that's right.
Thank you very much.
And also Fern Lovebond, but that might have been yesterday, so I don't know whether that was during the One Ring stream. I can't remember.
I feel like that.
Well,
name
better to
rings
have
bells.
two
I
thanks.
do remember that name.
Yeah, I remember that name. Yeah, I think that.
Better to have two thanks than none, so thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah.
Johnny, you do have something else to say. XP.
XP.
Oh yes.
Let's do XP.
You're on it today, Sam.
Oh,
You've taken your
Let's
stuff.
hope I don't do what I did last time and read the development points one instead. I thought I'd done so well. Okay, questions for experience points. Did you participate in the session? Yes. Get 1 XP. Did you confront any Vaesen? I'm going to say no. Did you
that's a big
identify a previously unknown Vaesen? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think anybody was affected by the Dark Secret.
Nope.
I don't think anybody took risks to protect other people.
No.
You have learned things. You haven't developed anything, and I don't think you performed an extraordinary action. So 3.
Cool.
Does that
Nice.
push anybody over the threshold to get something new?
I could get something.
I just
I think
spent
I'm
mine.
just loading
Yeah.
points.
I just bought another
Yeah,
force myself. So
Force.
wanted to get myself up to 7 rolling for force because Magnus is a chunky guy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
No one
might get
else does
myself
it.
up
Yeah, that gets
to...
me to 5.
I think if I got up to 4 learning, it would be a bit much.
You got to do it with something. Everyone has a specialty. I'm going to
Something.
stick to never putting anything in learning for this whole campaign.
Yeah.
I will roll 2 dice and that is
Nice.
it.
Nice. I mean, some of the talents are quite fun as well. So it's
Yeah.
Certainly.
a bit
Yeah.
more situational, but
Mm.
definitely interesting.
Yeah,
Your
that was
Sixth
why I
Sense
was.
one has been like that was a really cool little scene, and we got to use that in the other one.
It's failed today because you need multiple successes, but
Yeah.
That was the reason for me. I
Yeah.
was prioritizing getting rid of angry rather than exhausted because my robust means I could ignore the physical condition for 1 check per session. And you
That
don't
is
do
a
that
good-
many
that's
checks,
a
so
nice-
that's pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's physical conditions, I think. So
Well, we have a question here from 4242, which is kind of
What is a success in this system? Yeah, so the way that the roles work is you add the stat and skill or whatever they're called together, and that gives you a number. So you might have 3 in a stat and 4 in the skill. So then you would roll 7d6, and then any 6s are a success. So you need at least 1 6 to succeed in something, and then additional successes can basically be used often at my whim as to what I want to give away with them. But like if for example the players said, if I get extra successes, can I have this information? I would work with that as well. So yeah, 1 6 is a success. But it does mean you can roll 10 dice and have no successes, which is a bit mean. But then there are other things that you can do, like pushing a roll where you take a condition to then re-roll any dice that are fails. That's right, isn't it? So you can push a success.
Yep.
So if you'd got 1 success, and for example with Steve's talent, the Sixth Sense one, he can get information on a Vaesen, or if there is a Vaesen there, if he gets an additional success on an investigation roll. So you might succeed on an investigation roll, but decide that you want to push it in order to get that extra information. So there are ways around things, but it could still be that you do, there's no surefire way to get something. Like you might still fail on a pushed roll and then just have a condition anyway.
it's worth asking the question as well, that if you're pushing, do you keep the 6s you've already rolled if you had
Yes,
roll.
you
You
do.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I couldn't remember if that was a thing or not. Also, while you were showing the dice off, Steve, it made me realize they should have gone brave, because I haven't seen the custom dice box. They should have gone brave and had a face and everything else blank. They should have done it. That would have been such a style thing. I know that numbers are useful, but that would have been so cool.
Yeah. They are
Yeah,
nice.
'cause I don't think you use any
exactly.
of the numbers, do you, on the...
We haven't come across it yet.
I guess the thing is that they do build them as being usable as ordinary dice.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, it would be
Yeah.
brave to sort of, if they were just Vaesen only, but
Yeah.
Okay,
they are
but
nice. They have a nice character.
As I like tabletop gamers, who doesn't have enough other
D6.
D6s
Yeah.
that would be necessary? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah.
Well, yeah, another comment from 42 when during the period of really bad rolls,
Time for new dice.
always time for new.
Yeah.
I have so many dice. Like I genuinely I was like rotating through a few of them, and they were just all like, maybe I should have had more dice loyalty. I don't know what the problem was there. I have not done my appropriate dice rituals or something. I've not prayed to the dice gods sufficiently this week. Something's up.
The dice do not worship
Turn
a
around a bit.
Christian god. This is the issue.
I mean, that's definitely
Other gods are available.
One of my D6s has disappeared, and I'm gonna blame that.
I have
If I
lost
had
so
that
many
D6, it would have been
dice
fine.
in this room.
Pixies.
That's the first one, actually.
I've just can't even find half of my dice anymore. I've just given up. Also, I've given up cleaning this room because then I would find the dice, and then those ones deserve to die. Deserve to die. You know what? There's a pun there.
Oh, there's a good one from 4242 in the chat. If I did it right, with 8 dice, you have 77% chance of success.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
if I had, there are tables in the Free League books that do list the percentage chances, and again with if you're pushing rolls as well.
I know them for D10s, not D6s.
Yeah,
Ish.
but it's you know the numbers.
You'd
look
think
sort of
you would think that
reassuring.
would be the case, but
Yeah.
in fact, the more dice you have, the less likely you are to succeed. which is a fact, which is like an actual fact that you find when playing the game. It's like one of those things like where you think the solution to this mathematical problem is really easy, but actually there's some actual funky trick that applies only in the situation, and that's true in dice in all situations.
I started some kind of like nuclear meltdown backstage when I asked for something that I was trying to figure out what the chances were of something. It went back and forth for some time with numerous different online threads being cited, and
just to prove Justin's theory, I just rolled 1 dice and rolled a 6. So
exactly.
Whereas if I roll many dice, I will roll no 6.
Yeah.
If you rolled no dice, infinite 6s.
Kind of
twice tonight I rolled 7 dice. So over those 14, I rolled 1 6.
And I just rolled 5 dice and got no 6s. There's proof.
It's a fact. This is
That's
like
hilarious.
This is live.
We've collected 2 data points, and we found that
this is going into Nature Journal tomorrow. I'm writing it up. Cool. Nothing else to pop up. We may be off next week, potentially. But join us on the Discord. I think a lot of people who are watching this live are in the Discord anyway, and for updates. But that's probably the best place for updates, right? Or Twitter. But the Discord's really good for
come to the Discord
stuff, and it's just
all
nice.
the cool people are there.
Yeah.
Not us, obviously, because we're not. Actually, no, we're there too.
It's all just the people who watch the streams. None of us are there.
We're not allowed.
Yeah.
There's cool people and us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's good, Inga.
What would we do without you, Inga?
So yeah, potentially next week, but if not, definitely the week after. And look out for updates on our online things. But thank you for watching. And Simbaroom is on Wednesday, I believe. At the moment,
I think so.
As it stands.
Usually we'd look at John, but
you know what? Join the Discord, and then you'll find out.
It's probably on. I think it's on. Well, actually, I can go right now to the
to the events.
to the
tab.
events. Yeah.
Tell us more of the useful features of being on the Discord.
Well, here we can see that
we keep saying
Wednesday.
you come to Discord because then you'll find out we're all on Discord, but none of us know.
Oh.
So we're not doing the best sell here.
It does. The system does indicate that it is on this Wednesday. So
Fantastic.
So yes,
And the system's almost never wrong, apart from
Indeed.
occasionally.
Yeah.
Cool. So yes, watch that on Wednesday, and then we may see you next Monday, otherwise the Monday after. And don't forget, February the 19th for Sam running Call of Cthulhu. Cool. Thanks everybody. Catch you soon. Bye bye.